Good afternoon, my friends, and welcome to today's edition of NWCR's Removing the Liberal Blindfold for this Tuesday, the 24th day of November in the year of our Lord 2020. The question from Business Game Changers with Sarah Westall comes this. What happens when you cheat on an election in an obscenely obvious way in front of the entire world? Well, here's what happens. The answer is, you get an army of software engineers that know how to analyze the data, write code to break it down, their every transaction, then show the entire world what has really happened. And this is happening, folks. Sarah Westall tells us all what is happening. The video that she did proves that Donald Trump won the 2020 presidential election. It is 100% provable and verified. If you add in other forms of fraud, including but not limited to mail-in ballot fraud, dead voters, non-citizens voting, thrown out ballots, and other software fraud, Donald Trump won in an absolute landslide. Anything short of a complete audit of the entire United States election process will not only highlight that Donald Trump won the presidential election, but that other seats in Congress and Senate were stolen as well. The American people deserve a fair and honest election, after all. It just takes time and some initiative. Fortunately, this work is occurring right now, and the first batch of announcements is coming out. That's what we should expect to occur, and it has. The world is filled with bright software engineers who can break down and analyze transactions very easily. It's not rocket science, especially for them, and it can be proven. It just takes time and some initiative. Fortunately, this work is occurring right now, and the first batches of analysis is coming out. Authorities need to take notice, as this is 100% provable given we have transactional data. Teams of others could very easily verify results, and it can be taken to court and prove the case of fraud, and more importantly, who actually won the election. Further, with the transactional data, analysis can prove every race in the country and see if there was a much larger red wave, as many suspect, thus changing many more congressional seats and seats in the Senate. The most recent post by Truman Black on the Donald.win shows these initial analysis results. What you will see is that massive amounts of votes were changed from President Trump to Biden, as most have suspected. Further, other votes were removed altogether without even any reason. As with any analysis, it's important to check the work to ensure that it has been completed properly without errors. There is more to do, but fortunately that work has started. No Q Report, an independent news site, is one of those checking the numbers. Their site states, quote, "We are going through the data now, but with everything we've combed through so far, it seems to check out. For example, in Georgia, there appears to have been 17,407 votes switched. Biden is currently leading in Georgia by 14,148 votes. Pennsylvania is even worse, with over 1 million votes either switched or lost. Combine this data with what we're learning about other forms of voter fraud, and it's easy to see how a man who couldn't fill a small auditorium with supporters was supposedly able to generate more votes than any American candidate in history. The truth is this: he didn't. Millions of votes were manufactured on his behalf. He or someone on his behalf used the hammer and scorecard to steal this election." Truman Black was reached out to and was asked why he and his team are doing this work. He replied, quote, "We love the United States of America, and we cannot sit around doing nothing while we watch the most blatant attempt from a corrupt establishment to steal this election and the soul of America for their own selfish motives," unquote. Now, everything that I am about to read here is verified and was made by this centipede. He did all the heavy work, and as a reminder, this doesn't take into account all the hundreds of thousands of Trump votes that were destroyed, burned, and ripped apart, and thousands of ballots were just marked for Biden, which shouldn't have been counted. This is the evidence that has been found so far. From the gatewaypundit.com, breaking huge, another system glitch captured live on CNN election night, 20,000 votes swapped Trump to Biden video. I saw the video on Gateway Pundit, and I decided to do some digging on my own into a more reputable source that can verify that the glitch was indeed real and that it affected votes instead of it being just a display glitch on that news channel. So I went digging into the Edison data at the NYT, and I found some damning evidence. As could be seen in the image that I saw, only 54 votes were added, but the ratio changed in Biden's favor by a whole 0.6%. This is proof that not only did the glitch happen, but it doesn't seem to have been reverted at all. Big update. I made a script to run through the data and gather all instances where votes switched from Trump to Biden. Lost votes means that the total amount of votes counted decreased by that amount throughout the counting. I've only done states that use Dominion voting system so far. New Mexico was one of those. Added all the states and separated by voting systems, although no state uses exclusively one system as far as I know. Reordered the states first by switched votes, then by lost votes. Switched votes are votes that were taken from Trump and given to Biden. And there's a whole shitload of them, folks. Lost votes are votes that disappeared during the counting from both candidates. There might be a small overlap between switched votes and lost votes. Dominion are the ones that I'm going to give you now, the states that use Dominion. Texas and Kansas use Premier Election Solutions, which was owned by Dominion. Now, here's the thing we have to listen to here, folks. Pennsylvania, switched votes, 220,883. Lost votes, 941,248. Just that right there in Pennsylvania is over 1 million votes. New Jersey, switched votes, 80,242. Lost votes, 20. Florida, switched votes, 21,422. Lost, 456. Michigan, switched votes, 20,213. Lost votes, 21,882. New York, switched votes, 18,124. Lost, 623,213. Georgia, switched votes, 17,407. Lost votes, 33,574. Ohio, switched votes, 14,956. Lost votes, 5,102. Virginia, switched votes, 12,163. Lost votes, 789,023. California, switched votes, 7,701. Lost votes, 10,989. Arizona, switched votes, 4,492. Lost votes, 0. Minnesota, switched votes, 2,766. Lost votes, 195,650. Tennessee, switched votes, 2,330. Lost, 0. Louisiana, switched, 2,322. Lost, 0. Illinois, switched, 2,166. Lost, 54,730. Wisconsin, switched, 2,078. Lost, 3,408. Colorado, switched, 1,809. Lost, 0. Utah, switched, 1,627. Lost, 0. New Hampshire, switched, 973. Lost, 116. Iowa, switched votes 938, lost 477. New Mexico, switched votes 268, lost 4,610. Missouri, switched votes 0, lost 20,730. Nevada, switched 0, lost 0. Alaska, switched 0, lost 0. Washington, switched 0, lost 0. Hawaii, switched 0, lost 0. Now, those are the only 4 states there that had 0, but it goes to show that it can be done. Texas, switched votes 14,954. Lost votes 30,557. Kansas, switched votes 1,674. Lost votes 2,154. The total switched here is 451,508. And that's with the states that had Dominion doing their voting. The election systems and software. Nebraska, switched votes 30,086. Lost votes 50. Kentucky, switched votes 8,129. Lost votes 23,849. Arkansas, switched votes 3,664. Lost votes 20,748. South Carolina, switched votes 2,779. Lost votes 2,119. Montana, switched votes 2,330. Lost votes 1,276. South Dakota, switched votes 1,347. Lost votes 1. North Dakota, switched votes 234. Lost votes 681. Maryland, switched votes 203. Lost votes 0. North Carolina, switched votes 0. Lost votes 15. District of Columbia, switched votes 0. Lost votes 0. The total switched here is 48,772. Now we move on to the unknown systems. Connecticut, switched votes 3,834. Lost votes 2,272. Massachusetts, switched votes 3,613. Lost votes 51. Oregon, switched votes 2,557. Lost votes 0. See, even a liberal state can go without losing votes. Alabama, switched votes 1,170. Lost votes 408. Mississippi, switched votes 355. Lost votes 0. Maine, switched votes 271. Lost votes 35. Rhode Island, switched votes 6. Lost votes 13. West Virginia, switched votes 0. Lost votes 78,300. Idaho, switched votes 0. Lost votes 0. And the rest of them, Oklahoma, Indiana, Delaware, and Vermont, all switched votes 0. Lost votes 0. Now we have to note here, the lost votes are votes that disappeared, not only for Trump but overall. The total here is 9,249 switched votes. And that's verified, folks. Total from those three, 509,529 votes that were switched from Trump to Biden. And here is the specific part where the switch happened. You can see that in the picture that was at http://wgu/vgzq.png, you can see that Trump lost 3,096 votes. Those all went to Biden. But Trump also lost 2,324 votes, and that went nowhere. Those 2,324 votes were moved from Trump to Jorgensen. So just in that one move, Trump lost 5,420 votes, and Biden gained 3,096. But there are so many other anomalies here that the media just will not let us know. That is why this exists. And now to remove the liberal blindfold here, folks. After telling all of you about this, and yes, there is much, much more that I didn't say, is it any wonder that the Democrats, Biden, Schumer, Pelosi, and the liberal lying lamestream media, especially the New York Times, is trying so hard to push the unfact that Trump lost and Biden won? You see, folks, Biden did not win the election, and the left knows this. They know that if this information gets out, that things around here would change drastically. So their only option now is to get the election called so that it wouldn't matter. If Biden is certified and declared the winner, he would be our president no matter what. It is just like the Coleman-Franken race that put Franken into the Senate. Al Franken, in fact, did not win that one, and it has been proven, but it was proven too late. And it was proven after Coleman conceded. After Coleman conceded, it didn't matter anymore. Any investigations into the ballots that were found in trunks or the other anomalies that happened, it didn't matter. Franken won on a cheat. Just like Biden will win on a cheat if the people do not wake the hell up and start looking at the facts that have been found by the software engineers and the geniuses that have the figures and the proof that Biden lost this election. But since the media has control of most all of the people, this will not get out unless sites like CNN, NWCR, American by Design, Black by Color Only, Political Pistachio, Kathy Henners, the Blaze Network, Breitbart, One America News, and others can figure out a way to take over the media and get the truth out to the people, because the media will not do it. The leftist socialists in the government won't do it, and if it isn't done and Biden takes the White House from the rightful winner, this country is done for, because we will never have a fair and balanced election ever again. That is what the leftists are hoping for, after all. That is another reason I always end my updates on my shows with what a friend of mine used to always say: we will not be ruled. Just as I've been saying, my friends, the enemy of this nation has been the demonic rat party and the lying media. For those two are the same as the false prophets of Baal. The truth shall never make it past their lips. This is Robert the Infidel for today's NWCR's Removing the Liberal Blindfold from behind the silver microphone of freedom, with the voice of reason in this increasingly unreasonable world, brought to you through Conservative Nation Media, where we fight to make sure America always wins. Have a blessed day, and God bless you all.